Maestro Gaming presents a wobbly wagon wheel production about a nomad man. That man is the Gypsy King.
Okay, ladies and gents, welcome back to the Maestro Game Production, and as you can see, we have already headed to our new destination. Now, the last game at Happy Valley, it was a very boring game. We finished 0-0, and I believe we finished around 8th place in the end, so nice solid position for them to build up from. We managed to, of course, survive in the previous episode, so there's no need to go through that last game. Now, I'm not going to quite unveil where we are yet. This particular hotel room, probably the one and only time you will see it. Now, it's £421 per night, and I thought I would splash out a little bit. That is because our caravan, or wagon, is currently in transport at the moment to this undisclosed destination. Now, this destination, of course, could be one of many. We could be in Sweden, we could be in Norway, we could be in Denmark, we could even be in Iceland, Poland, Belarus, Russia, or perhaps we are in Finland. But I'm going to head on over to the league now, check out what team we have got, and I will see you fine folks there in just a second. Okay everyone, we have finally arrived at our new club, and of course we are here in Iceland. Now, not the supermarket, but a little bit better. Was a bit further to travel, admittedly, but we are finally here, and I'm probably going to butcher the name of our club. So our club is Nattspire Nuffislag. IA. Otherwise, IA. I'm just going to say IA. It's so much easier. Higher Fury. IA will ring in the 75th season under a new manager in not Tyson Fury. Eyebrows have been raised in the world of football at the appointment of the 32-year-old who has recently spent time away from club football. Like I said, I explained it last time, every time we do one of these, it's going to say we've been away, but we all know we've been managing in other teams. But the way I do it, I resign, recreate. It's never going to continually say we're at clubs. But skipping over that, and he is sure to face plenty of questions when he faces the media for the first time in Akranus Valur. Fury has put pen to paper on a 2-year deal worth £750 per week. So we're definitely not going to be staying in that hotel. I'm not quite sure where in Iceland this is, but the hotel was in Reykjavik. So maybe it's a bit of travel, and we're definitely not going to be able to afford it because it's going to be more than half of our wage. Other than that though, he replaces previous manager Johan Carl Gudjohnsen even. Fury lacks the reputation of a survival specialist. That's a lie. We've saved 2 clubs in 2 years, which gives the club's current ambition, creates an intriguing dynamic as they intend to retain their place in the division. Now, this one should be, theoretically, an easier job. I've had a look. Our club is expected to I believe, place 7th, and us and 2 other teams all are on the same points. It's literally the bottom 3 are all on the same points. So survival should be in our reach, but who knows? I don't know what the other teams have in terms of players. But despite pre-season hopes of a top half finish in the league, like I said, we're not expected to be down here, IA currently find themselves in 12th place in the Premier Division table. IA have only won 1 of their last 5 games in the league. So we come in as we have been plummeting. So we can't have started the season too bad. We do have 6 points, I believe, so far. So here we go. We have no director of football. Our assistant is going to be Sigre. Yes, I'm going to butcher that several times. I know that for sure. Like I said, media prediction of 7th in our club history. We've done okay for ourselves, I suppose. Won the Premier League a few times. Won the Cup a few times. Won the Champions Cup. Won the First Division 4 times. And Cup A 4 more times. So, 5,500 seater is our stadium. We've got good training facilities, good youth facilities, and average youth recruitment. Now, the club background founded in 1946. Nattspire IA are a professional Icelandic club currently playing in the Icelandic Premier League. IA will be looking to build on their mid-table finish in the Premier League last season. The club play their home games at the Akranes Valera and possess good training facilities and good youth facilities. The club has a good academy coaching and an average youth recruitment network. The club is affectionately known as Skagamen and retain a fierce rivalry with Natasberg Ruffalag Reykjavikir for simple saying. Having enjoyed their greatest era in the 1990s, Skagamen are undoubtedly one of the most successful clubs in Iceland, boasting a proud total of 40 competitive wins. Here are just some of their highlights. AR have won the Icelandic top division 18 times, finished runners-up 12 times, having 9 Icelandic cups. Okay, so we're coming into a club which has a good history. We are a solid football club. We find ourselves bottom of the league. We should be able to pull this team out of this misery pretty easily. In fact, let's go for a late title push. That's going to be my ambition. If we're supposed to be a mid-table team, finding ourselves struggling, you know, let's get up there. We'll go for a title push. Late push for the league in the back end. We are, of course, 9 games deep. I guess they stack their fixtures towards the back end of the season because this is one day before the transfer window in the middle of the season. And we've played 9 of our games when it's a 22-game season, I believe. So that's a little weird. But our formation is a typical 4-4-2, very boring. We have a couple of transfer obligations. He's going out on a free joining on a free transfer. He leaves soon, and we have a few different loans to think about, but I'll get into that when we address our transfers. Sign players under the age of 23 is what we're supposed to be doing. Work within the budget, of course. Sign players to sell for a profit. Not going to be much of a hassle for us considering we're sticking around for half a season. Minimum 2-year contract for first team players. Well, I have a habit of doing that usually anyway. End of season. So they want us to avoid relegation. Well, that's our plan so far. The Cup reached the semi-finals as a minimum. Now that's going to be an interesting one. And the League Cup A is not important. So I guess that's like the Carabao Cup. Other seasons don't really matter. Become recognised as the best of the rest by the time we get down here. But we aren't going to be around after this season, so that doesn't matter. Schedule a press conference. And yes, I'm going to do both of those. And I shall head on through these. So got... yeah, skip over that, that we are going to accept, of course. I'll run through all these off camera. You don't need to see me doing all these tinkering little messy bits. All we need to find out is our transfer budget is awful. So if we want to bring in players, we're going to have a bit of a cull. As you can see though, there's 3 of us on 6 points. We are, of course, bottom of the league on goal difference. So it should be easy to climb out of. As you can see, they're in 9th, but once you get past 9th place, we were on 9, everyone's pretty close. They're 2 points ahead, 1 point ahead of them 2, 1 point more. It's only these top 3 that are really running away from it, so we can get up to about 4th. Let's aim for 4th. 4th is going to be our target. I know I said let's push for a late title bid, but they're 8-1-0. They're 6-1. Like, there's too much of a gap to possibly catch up to them 3, but we can definitely catch up to 4th place. So let's go 4th. 4th is ambitious, but we can do it. Of course, our minimum expectation, avoid relegation. But without further ado, I'm going to sort our team out. I'm going to see if I can get some transfers in, and I'll see you fine folks for the first game, which shall be at home to KR. Now KR, of course, they are 6th in the league. When were they predicted? Let's have a little look. Are they favourites for our game, or are we? Season preview. KR are a mid-table side, as are we. Of course, they're not as disappointing as we are at the current form. But I will see you fine folks for that game, and I'll see if I can bring some place for the first game as manager here in Iceland. So I'll see you at the stadium in just a second. Okay, ladies and gents, you probably thought I missed this segment, and to be honest, I nearly did. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gents. I almost messed up and completely forgot about this part of the episode. But of course, we are going to have a little look at our stadium. I'm then going to introduce you to the team before our game. And we did actually manage to make a few signings. Very much on the cheap, though. As you know, our transfer budget was not the greatest, and neither was the state of our wage bill. But we'll get into that after we've had a little look round. And surprisingly, we have a lovely position here next to what I'm assuming is a beach. So let's just drop us. We have multiple. You know what? We'll try this one. It's nearest to the stadium. A little wonky, I must admit. It's a bit of a wonky view, but that is the back end of our stadium. A little rear entrance, I assume, and we are right on the water. This is not too bad. Now, little rocky, I wouldn't really call this bit a beach, but we do have some sand up here. Not the greatest, but look at this lovely mountain view. It's great. Perfect location. In fact, I love this place. This is looking amazing already. In fact, I want to have a little look further down the beach. Let's have a little look on these two others down the beach. So over here, we have this nice little, I'm assuming, bathing area. Press. I don't think I can press a bar. Oh, it's for the showers. That makes a bit more sense. So there's that. Of course, we've got the beach here, the lovely sea, and a better view of our stadium from the rear. I guess this is the little hut we keep our stuff in, from looks of it. Or maybe that's my office. Who knows? That perhaps might be the office I'm sat in right now. But we are going to zoom out. We are then going to have another look at the other view of the beach, and then have a little drive around the location. Don't think that's there. I'm pretty sure the big 360 thing is not actually floating in the air there. Now this is of course taken on a more snowy day, and yeah, this is what the weather can get like here. So we get a nice variety. We can have some lovely sunny days and we can have some lovely snowy days. I like my snow and this seems to be okay for me, so I will be enjoying that for sure. We are now going to drop ourselves in the stadium, which I really hope it's not like this for today's game, because this is quite a bit of snow. You can only just make out the goal over there. It's very open-ended at this stand, and yes, so I think we only have the one stand, which is weirdly on this side. You would have thought if you're going to build a stand, build it on this end. That way you can actually sit on the stand and see out to the sea. But what am I, an architect? Possibly not. But we shall zoom out of there. We shall now drop onto the road and go for a little drive. See what the surrounding area is like. So as you can see, there's our nice little badge on the side of our stadium. Doesn't seem to be anything across the road other than the odd house or two. This seems to be the busier way by looks of it. Although it looks like we're going onto a housing estate. Yes, we seem to be going onto a housing estate going this way. But I'm sure there's something further along. We've got some sign postage. I unfortunately can't read any of it, so that's not going to be a whole lot of use. But we can try and figure it out, I suppose, from just taking directions from what looks like a busy place. This seems to all be housing, though. I think this might be our nearest shop, perhaps. That's probably our corner shop. That's not really on a corner. But yes. Yes, I think that was that one, the Crambird. We then have some other shops over here. We have a hotel just down the road for our travelling supporters. And we have the junkyard, which is apparently some place we can eat. A fast food restaurant, junkyard. So we are going... Oh, let's just take that off because I've got it zoomed in so you can't actually see half of that. So the junkyard is on our doorstep. I don't see the junkyard. I guess it's within our facilities. I'm not quite sure about that one. A few educational facilities. We have golf course over here, so that's not too bad. We also have this lovely place. Unfortunately can't drop us in it, but I can drop us near it. We have... Okay, not so lovely. Not so lovely. That is a graveyard, folks. So maybe just... No, we won't go visit the cemetery. We don't have anyone who is staying in there that I know of. Maybe some ex-players, possibly. And then, of course, we have a nice boat on land. The place you put all your boats, of course, is on land. But without further ado, we are going to go now, have a little look at the players I've acquired for the team, have a little look at the people who have stayed, who have gone, and then get into today's match. So without further ado, I will head on over to the game now, and I will see you in just a second. Okay everyone, we are finally back in game, and it is time to introduce our new arrivals and our one departure. Now, the one departure wasn't my own personal choice. It was actually our starting right midfielder. The previous manager decided to sell him on the cheap. So as you can see, he went out for 18.25 thousand, possibly rising to 22,500, but he is worth a lot more than that, as you'll see. Zamorano is actually valued at 75 grand. I think even at our club he was valued at 32. So this was a terrible business decision by him. Yes, we are a selling club, but we don't need to be selling players who, previous to us, 20 games, 10 goals in those 20 games. Not the greatest bit of business decision, but what we have done in the free players we have brought in is very good business decision. All three loans, all three of them we're not paying a single penny for. Two of them, yes, they're only depth players. They're giving us a bit of cover. And one of them is pretty darn good. He's actually going to slot straight into our first team. Now, let's go with the bad ones first. So we have Okik. Okik is a striker, 2-star, 2-star potential. Now, he's very much a depth player. He's going to be about third in line as a striker. If players get injured, slides up into our bench. So, he is a striker, of course, can play left and right midfield. You'll find in this league a lot of adaptable players. So, his history, been in Bosnia a long time, was in Croatia for a little bit. Heck, he had a 160 grand transfer down here back when he was in his prime. But as you can see, he's fallen off a little bit. He's played a lot of games though back in Bosnia, and he's 32. So that is him. Not a bad little acquisition, gave us a bit of depth at striker. We have then Porarsson. Porarsson is 2.5 star. He's Icelandic, 21-year-old, 2.5 star, 3.5 star potential. Striker. Can also play on the right hand side of midfield and right defence. Weirdly can't play as a right wing back though, which is odd, because if you can play as right back, and definitely if you can play as a right back and the right midfielder, I don't see how you can't play as a right wing back. He's only competent there when he's natural in the others. But enough about the ridiculousness of that. He was at KR for the past couple of seasons. He then had an interesting spell in 2018, as you'll see. He went from KR to us for a couple of games. He then went to Viking, where he played 11 games and scored 2 goals. So it is time for him to try and establish himself, hopefully whilst he's on loan. We then have Kristic. Now this is the guy slotting straight into our first team. He is a 3-star current ability, 3.5, possibly 4.5 star potential. Serbian, 21 years old, is a solid player. Now this guy, he does go against our foreign rule, but we have no foreign players in our starting 11. 3 is the maximum, I believe, for the team, but you can have as many as you want on the bench. So if we get someone better, we can shift him to the bench. So he's not much of a hassle in that regard. He is a solid player and he was very much needed. I think our other alternative was to use a 1.5 star centre-back. So I brought him in and he's given us some nice cover. Hasn't really played any games. He played 4 when he was in Serbia before he went on his free transfer and moved to Iceland. But yeah, hopefully he can establish himself in our team. Now, we have a lot of sons. I'm going to, between this and the game, rename all these and take the sons out their names, because there's a lot of sons, and I don't want to be saying son, 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 son. So I'm going to rename all of the ones who are playing. Now, the ones in the reserves, I'm not going to mess about with them until they move into the bench, move onto the pitch. But this is our team. So we have Olafsson, we have Palsson, Kristik, we have Johansson, Korovic. This is basically our starting lineup. I'm not going to go through them all. I'll go through our lineup for today's game. Feel free to pause it if you wish to have a nice little look through the attributes. Our abilities are pretty solid. We have a good striker, we have a good attacking mid. Our wingers could do with a bit of work. Our left back needs some work. Our right back's good. Our defence is alright. Now I've brought in that other centre back. But as you can see, like I said, we do have a centre back injured, and that's Marcus Johansson. And he's out for a good bit. So he's out for 4 weeks to 2 months. Our best centre-back, 3.5 star. So he is going to be surely missed. But like I said, I brought in another centre-back to at least help. And he's good enough to start. So he's our new starter. So it's not too bad. We've not got too many problems at the back, I suppose. So, as you will see from when we swap to our game team, this is our game team. So he's going to drop to just being Olaf. We'll have Olaf in goal. We're going to have Pals on the left-hand side of defence. Krisik. We're going to have Peters. And then Korovic will, of course, stay as Korovic. Bajaka. I'll probably just make him Bajak. Gunnar. We'll then have Magnus alongside Raw. I guess he'll drop to being Raw because he's got Raw in his name, so it's easier. Robert, and then Harald. So that is our starting lineup. We'll then have some others which I will be changing, but I will see you fine folks for the game at pitch side in just a second. Okay, ladies and gents, we finally made it down to pitch side, and the team's kicking off for our first game here in Iceland. We have Olaf in goal, Pals at left back, Krisik and Peter in central defence. Korovic is our right back. We have S-Raw on the left-hand side of midfield. Magnus and Gunnar in central midfield. Bajak on the right. Robert in front of them in central attacking mid. And Harald up front. Our bench consists of Hodzik, Wasilewski, Big Ears, because yes, his name was very similar to Ears, so he's now Big Ears. We then have Wola, Roka, Flosa, and Clement. They are, of course, going for a 4-2-3-1. And without further ado, let's go talk to our assistant and get on with today's game. So our assistant thinks we should try and encourage the team, and I think that is pretty reasonable. So let's assertively say, you know what? No, I expect to win. And that's gone down great. They love it. They love the positivity. So, Gunnar Hafilsson from the publication The Icelandic Football Daily. Personally, they are old and boring. A little bit insulting, must say. Relationship, though, indifferent. So, your question for me is, you're about to take charge of your first match as AI manager. Can you sum up your feelings on an occasion like this? Well, yes I can. It's a special day. I can't wait to get started in this wonderful job. It's a big day all round. How much do you look forward to taking on your rivals? It's always a tremendous occasion and atmosphere. Do you have any worries about the players being able to keep their heads in the heat? I don't have any considerable worries on this front. I give him a gentle reminder. Slap around the back of the head. So don't misbehave. Your team ranking's considerably lower in the Premier Division possession table, whilst KR are right up at the top. I prefer to suffer without the ball, no, because we've moved to a control possession, so we shall be taking the ball for ourselves. We know what we are. Yeah, we know what we do well and what we don't. And we now do possession football much better. Much better than the previous manager did, that is for certain. But we are heading into this game. We are 10 minutes deep and we are yet to see a highlight. We are finally into a highlight. We have Magnussen here on the 12th minute, cutting inside. Lovely pass across to Gunnar. Gunnar holding up possession nicely. Plays it back to Peter on the halfway line. Nice ball over to Bajak. Bajak coming down this right-hand side. Will he whip one in? Whips one in. Herald. Oh, it's hit the bar and it is cleared by Yusufson. And we have another throw-in. 13 minutes deep now. We've had 5 shots to their 2. We are very much the stronger side at the moment. We have a free kick against us though in a dangerous position. Back post punched away by Olaf. Pal's now on the counter attack. Pal's lovely ball over the top to Herald. Herald, come on, pull it back. Come on, Herald. Pulls it back to Pals. Pals up to Roberts. Roberts has support. Plays it to Gunnar. Gunnar holding up possession nicely for Roberts. Plays it to Magnus. Magnus to Herald. Herald. Nice ball over to Raw. Raw back to Magnus. Magnus back out to Raw. Raw plays it to Pals. Pals has space. Whips it across to Herald. Blocked, but can Raw get it? No, Raw does not win the ball back. And it's Jani on the counter attack. Jani has just run straight through our defence. This is disappointing. Unfortunate for him. Olaf is there. He just gathers the ball nicely. We are going to scroll it down. Currently, this draw is actually taking us out of the relegation zone, but we want a bit more. So, demand more. Come on, lads. I expect a little bit better than this. You are doing reasonable, but you can do certainly better than this. I actually had a discussion with them between the segments, and we're all looking for top half. They think it's possible. I think it's possible. And through Herald's goals like that, it will be possible. So, 4th goal of the season. Season? 4th goal of the season for Herald. Assisted by Bajak. Nice little header into the left-hand side of the goal from the corner. And we squeak into half-time. 1-0. We've had 11 shots. They've had 5. Foreign target, they've had 2. 7 fouls to 6. 1 yellow card, 0 yellow cards. 47% possession to 53. Now the best performer was Herald. He got 1 goal and 7.2, and for them was Munson with a 6.8 and 93% passing completion ratio. Now struggling to perform was Kurovic. He got 0% crossing completion and 6.5 even rating as a result. Chop hard and struggle for them. He's got 6.4 and no reason for it. Currently there is no other games going on. There is a game after this, and there was a game prior. But Johansson thinks we should try and encourage the team. I think that's not a bad shout. Things are going well, but I know... Yeah, that seems like the best call right now. Things are going well. You're capable of better, though. You are a better side than this. Roberts is looking very tired. Kurovic is also looking pretty tired. I'm probably going to take him off a bit earlier than I usually would. So let's just let it squeak to the 60th minute. Robert, with the free kick though, whips it in. Magnus almost gets a goal from it. Unfortunately goes wide though. So, time for our double substitution, and it comes just in time. The body language of Kurovic has gone nervous. Don't know why he's nervous. We are currently a goal up, but he's now nervous. So, Kurovic, get off the pitch, my friend. Go have a nice early shower. You are going to go onto sportive, because I prefer him to be on sportive, but the other one prefers to be defensive, so I utilise that. We then were, of course, taking Roberts off. Now, the question is, do we want to go for a 5 midfield and pull him back, or do we go with Floser with his 2.5 star? You know what? We're going to give Flowchart his chance. So, Flowchart, you can come on. You know what? It's not going to change it right now. And we don't want capitals. But you are now Flowchart. All in one word, of course. You are Flowchart. So the Flowchart is out, and we are going to use it. We are going to use our Flowchart to achieve success here into today's game. But they do have a dangerous free kick with Jonsson. Jonsson whips it in. It is over the bar though. We have escaped that free kick situation. Our team is motivated. I was going to give them a shout, but there's no point when half the team is already motivated. What am I going to do? Motivate them twice over? It doesn't really work that way in Football Manager. They're either motivated or they're not, and half the team is already motivated, so we don't have much to do as a manager. We can just stick our feet up, watch, and I join you fine folks in the stand as we spectate this lovely 1-0 victory. We've kicked off our Icelandic journey nicely here. Herald with a 42nd minute goal. Now, we had 14 shots, they had 10. 4 on target, they had 2. 16 fouls to 16 fouls. 2 yellow cards, 0 yellow cards. 49% possession to 51. Our best performer was Bjark. He got 8 fouls against. Don't know why that makes him particularly good, but who am I to judge? Asmundsen, though, was their best performer. He got a 91% passing completion ratio. That got him a 6.9 rating. Now, struggling to perform was Raw. He got a 6.5, and Chopart, he also got a 6.5. Milestones, of course, I made my first managerial debut for this club. We all know I've already made that debut elsewhere in a couple of situations where I saved 2 clubs. Herald, of course, taking player of the match. That was a very deserved effort from Herald. And Johansson thinks there's nothing we really need to address, and I think that is reasonable. We just beat a team in that mid-table position, and you know what? Well done, lads. Good win for us. That has pulled us out the relegation zone, put us in that mid-table fight. We can go for that top half, which we talked about between myself and the players, of course, because you fans don't get to go backstage all the time. But that does mean in our next episode, we are now going to verse Preteur and IBV, both away games. So we are going to have a bit of fun on the road in the following episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you all have a lovely night, and goodbye.